When I was a kid here in Canada, we had what was known as the Big Three in the auto industry. We had Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler, not in any particular order. And my dad, he was more leaning towards the General Motors products, and so of course I thought they were the best. Now, of course, they were all good when they were new. Anyway, if you were to take a Chevy and a Pontiac of the same year, turn them upside down and look at them from the bottom, they looked pretty much identical. They had the same engine, same transmission, same pumpkin, everything was the same. Well, it's kind of like that with these pens. There's a lot of parts that are the same in the Sedona as there is in the Baron. In fact, some of the parts are absolutely identical, sort of like the 283 engines of years ago in the General Motors cars. The only thing different was they were painted a different color. One color in Pontiac, one color in Chevy. Same engine. Well, we got the same sort of thing going on here. Now, I know there's a lot of similarities going on here, but probably the blanks, when I cut them, they're going to be as different as can be, except probably for the overall color. Now, what I plan to do is I want to try and take advantage of places like right here, for instance, where unless there's a lot of voids going on in there, and I hope there isn't, like insects boring through and stuff like that, here, and right here, and here, and here, and maybe right here. Okay, there's going to be a lot of places where I'm thinking that it might turn out quite nice because there was a little branch growing out of there at one time. I'm guessing that this particular branch was dead on the tree for 2 or 3 years before the woodpecker cut it off. Anyway, let's see what we can do here, because that's pretty much the next step. Try and get some blanks going on here. And also, I better make sure that I don't get my parts mixed up. So I'm going to separate them right now and get the Baron back in his. Anyway, bear with me here while I pick these up, because this is actually very important. Don't want to get them in the wrong, press them together wrong, because as you can see, well, mind you, in a lot of cases, like for instance right here, this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, they're identical. These are identical. These are identical. Brass tubes are identical. But, you know, out here on the end where there's the clip, of course, well, that's not identical. But anyway, let's try and keep them separate. Okay. Well, that's a start. Well, you don't have to be an optician to see that this is going to work. Now just make 3 more that are similar. Well, they're sort of similar. Now let's hope that when I turn those down, I don't find too many punky spots or rotten places. And I guess the next step is drill the holes. Well, I'm going to try and do the hardest one first. And if it doesn't work out, well, I can always cut another piece of wood. But I think I've got it eyeballed just about right. We'll soon know. The moment of truth. I think it's going to just make it. Now this one is a little bit more straightforward. Got a little impacted there. I think I should have backed the drill out. Doing that is kind of dangerous because it sometimes will push the end, the bottom end out on you. But it didn't in this case, as you can see. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so that's the cap blanks. Now we just do the pen itself. Well, once again, we've got one that's a little bit lopsided. And this time I'm going to raise the bit out and clear the flutes every so often. Now here's where I made a mistake. I forgot to readjust the height of the table to match up for the fact that this bit is shorter. Okay, we're now readjusted. It should go right through and out the other side. And once again, see what we got. Well, it looks okay. And sort of by eyeballing it, I can see that it's the edge of the hole here is quite a ways from this edge here, so I think it's going to be all right. It's going to be really interesting to see what does it look like in where that knot is. Now this one is only a little bit bent. Okay, I think this one's going to be okay as well. Well, let's get the brass tubes glued in and see what we can do. Now you'll probably remember I did this before, a couple or 3 weeks ago. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weigh these blanks here before I put them in the vacuum chamber. Okay, so that's 77.0 grams. Okay. 77 grams. Okay, now I'll put them in the vacuum chamber, and while I'm doing the brass tube thing, sanding them and plugging them, well, I'll let this run for probably half an hour or so. But the rest of this is going to have tomorrow written on it. After I drilled out the holes here, I found that I had other things I had to do today, and it's getting pretty late. So that's pretty well it for today. Now about this tree and the fact that the branch could have moisture in it. It's not going to have very much moisture in it because it's been sitting outside without any rain for about 4 weeks. In fact, in Kelowna the forest fire hazard is extremely high right now because there's a lack of rain. So I imagine that branch, being dead for 2, 3, maybe 4 years and no rain for 4 weeks or more, it's probably pretty dried out. However, we'll see what happens here.